That only leaves you with 3.
I can do it all in 3 minutes. Yes. Hey, good evening, everyone. It's good to see some new faces. I'm Michael Koslow, running for Congressional District 26, all of Ventura County except for downtown Ventura, as well as West Los Angeles County. So good to be here tonight. One of the things I want to go ahead and convey, first and foremost, is that we're talking about bond issues, we're talking about military, we're talking about the border, we're talking about education in general, as well as what's going on from our economic standpoint. All those issues, I've got the experience, the knowledge. I see a lot of faces out here, so just let me go ahead and take a couple of minutes to talk about who I am, what my background is. I won't go back to when I was a paper boy. I won't go that far back. But realistically, 31 years as a federal agent, working everything from undercover narcotics to white-collar crime to a whole myriad of things. I was a counterintelligence agent, counterespionage agent, working before the Berlin Wall came down in East Berlin. So I've got that experience. I've negotiated treaties on behalf of the California Air National Guard as far as over in Ukraine. So I've got that experience. On the other side, I was with the military for 33 years. Matter of fact, how many of those are you old enough to remember G.I. Joes? Okay? What's that?
The big ones.
The big ones, that's right, yeah, with the hair on the head. Before that, actually. I'm actually losing mine, but that's another story. Actually, what happened in 33 years, folks, I started out as an E1 and worked my way all the way up to where I ended up running and sitting in the general officer's positions up in Sacramento, running the California Air National Guard. So after 33 years of experience, I had that experience as far as in leadership, managerial capabilities, and program management and formulation. So I'm a results-oriented person. I can get the job done. And if I don't, I build high-performance teams behind me. What does that mean in English? Is that once I get in, I'm going to be sitting on the right committees and the right subcommittees to be able to go ahead and address these issues, roll my sleeves up to get the job done. And that's the distinction. I'm not a performative politician. I don't need to be on TV. My job is to get back up there to do nothing more than listen to the constituents. And I want to go ahead and emphasize, that's a part of the problem right now with some of our politicians, is they don't get out and talk to the people. I'm going to talk about Julia Brownlee. Come on. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. She's an empty suit. She's an empty suit. And I'll give you a quick story, and I think I mentioned this when I first started before the primaries last year, is the fact is that she went down to Sepulveda. Ever heard the military or the veteran stand-down? Yeah. Okay. What it is it's a serving line, basically, for those veterans that are homeless or destitute, don't have a means to be able to go ahead and provide for themselves. Well, they were doing this down in Sepulveda, and I remember I had a story I was talking, because I'm an elk as well, and we were down there by the Elks Lodge. And we were down there and we were talking, and she showed up with her staff, and what she told the staff was, I am just here for a photo opportunity. And I am not going to be able to have time to speak with anybody. That is reminiscent and reflective of what kind of a personality she has. She is basically out there being told what to do, how to do it, when to do it by her staff. She's not able to effectively think on her own. Okay. Matter of fact, she would have to have a speech up here to be able to go ahead and follow it, and heaven help her if she got any questions. That's why I would love to debate her, but probably never going to really happen, because I can address those respective issues. There are so many things going on right now. She's constantly, 94% of the time, she has voted along with the administration. She wants you to be indentured servants. That's what the administration wants, is you to be indentured servants. So that way you have to ask the government, Mother, may I? Can I have this? Can I get this, please? So that's why I'm running for office, because I have a track record, folks, in myriad of different professions, in organizations, and I have proven many times over that I can get the job done and develop the teams necessary to be able to go ahead and address the solutions and alternative courses of action to be able to benefit the American people and the people of the state of California and my District 26. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to be able to meet with you tonight and talk with you. And please, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
What is your position regarding the wars in Ukraine and Israel?
Good question.
What is it? Repeat it.
The question is, what are my views on the war in Ukraine right now?
And Israel.
And Israel. Two good points right there. First and foremost, I worked for the Department of Defense Inspector General, and one of the things that we always recommended is having an IG oversight for fiscal responsibility. It's your tax dollars, folks. That's my first answer as it relates to making sure that we have fiscal responsibility as far as in Ukraine and the money that we spend, and making sure we have oversight. The IG, the Inspector General, for the respective departments that are providing that money, whether it's the Department of Defense, the Department of State, all those particular organizations have an IG. We had it in Iraq, we had it in Afghanistan. But where we don't have it is in Israel. We don't need that because we do have the oversight there. And to answer your question, we don't have it in Ukraine as well. So that's one of the things I've been talking with my friends back in Washington. They need to have an Inspector General for that fiscal responsibility. As it stands right now, yes, from a strategic standpoint, I support the war in Ukraine, only from the perspective that a sovereignty has been impeded on. So we need to make sure that the Russians started this. We need to make sure that we finish this and enable the Ukrainians with proper oversight and accountabilities of where our money is going, not like leaving $83 billion worth of equipment as we leave in Afghanistan. We need to be accountable. And yes, I support the war, what's going on in Israel right now, because of, how many of you have heard, sorry, probably getting a little long-winded on this, but the Convention of Hamas, 1988. You familiar with that? Okay. It says right there that they're going to go ahead, their job and primary focus is to kill Jews. That being said, how do you overcome an ideology like that? Many times you can't, because it's instilled in the culture. So to answer your question, yes, I support both positions with accountability.
Anybody else? Kathy.
I'm Kathy Layton. I just want to ask, if you were in Congress right now, what would you vote as far as the budget?
What aspect of the budget? The omnibus or
Yeah.
the... Well, I'd have to take a look at it and see what's going to be in the best interest. There's always going to be compromise on almost every aspect of it, but if there's specific issues that you have in mind, I can address that. But as far as, it's not one of those things where you're just going to go ahead and just say yay or nay. I would want to go ahead and see from the majority of the issues that are being addressed in the budgeting that has been identified, I'd want to see that there's accountabilities and that we're doing it. There's always going to be some degree of compromise. Nothing gets accomplished unless you have that degree of compromise. But it's got to be practical and accountable.
Hi, Mike.
Yes.
Jackie.
Hi, Jack.
How you doing? Okay, would you be able to work with Tom Homan, for the mass deportation efforts with your background, and you know Tom Homan, right? So, I believe he's gonna be in charge of helping with the mass deportation. With your background, that would be very helpful.
Interesting you brought that up. We had actually had that discussion about 2 weeks ago. Sorry. Question was, working with Tom Homan, who has been identified by the Trump administration to help with the mass deportation efforts. And the question is, would I be able to help and could I help in that endeavor if I was asked to, as far as from a congressional standpoint? And the absolute over resounding answer to that is yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Next question?
I had a quick, simple question. How do you feel about the CR continuing resolutions that are being installed almost every fall without the politicians not really reading any of the laws that are being presented and just passing all the budgets, and the budgets are getting bigger and bigger every year?
That's an easy one. You have to pass it to be able to read it, right?
We've heard about that. Well, that's why we are in $137 trillion
The
national
question,
debt.
yes, the question is that with the continuing resolutions and the continuation of constant continuing resolutions, are we going to be able to go ahead and effectively address that, and what can we do about that? Is this,
Budget cut,
and budget cuts, yes.
all the wars.
Make a very, very short answer. Is that,
Go ahead.
very short answer. from a continuing resolution perspective, there's times where that's necessary if you come to a gridlock and you're not able to go ahead and have consensus on being able to pass certain things. The problem in Congress many times over is that there are riders, pork, other things that are added to it. That needs to be cut out. There needs to be accountabilities for that. As far as the continuing resolution, there was a time where we had our budgets in place by September 30th.
Right.
Why aren't they happening anymore? Because it gives people time to go ahead and do additional horse trading, is what it really boils down to. So the simple answer is that yes, we need to work towards that, and that's going to be Ways and Means and some of the other committees that are going to have to effectively address that. So yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next